Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Transportation. Last week, I spoke to the Minister and wrote him a letter about one of my constituents, Marie-Julie Cosenzo. She is a paramedic in Gatineau. She lives in Ottawa. She is a first responder, and she has post-traumatic stress disorder after attending a teenage suicide. The reason her license was revoked is cited as quote-unquote psychiatric disorders, yet Ms. Cosenzo's psychiatrist told Ministry of Transportation officials that there's no, quote, psychological reason why her ability to drive a personal vehicle should be limited. She further states, in fact, limiting her mobility is likely to exacerbate her mental health symptoms. Through you, Speaker, the Minister and all members must be concerned about how this looks. Stigmatizing people further who have mental health concerns. And I ask the Minister, will the government work to end the stigma surrounding mental health issues and reinstate my constituent's license as her doctor suggests?
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Speaker. I want to begin by thanking the member for the question and also for reaching out to me a number of days ago on this matter relating to her constituent. As I've said, since receiving that letter, the ministry is taking a look at it. I'm not in a position to comment on any specific case with respect to this procedure, Speaker. I should point out, and happy to have, obviously I will have a follow-up opportunity in the supplementary from the Ministry of Transportation's perspective. There is no blanket decision that gets made with respect to the medical review of licenses. Everything is done on a case-by-case basis, Speaker. And I would also point out that at all times, which I think that member and her constituents and every member in this House could appreciate, Speaker, at all times the ministry keeps the safety of all users on our roads in terms of its paramount concern. And I'd be happy to provide more information in the follow-up. Thanks very much, Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary, the member from Chatham-Kent-Essex.
Thank you, Speaker. To the Acting Premier. Speaker, earlier this year, while surrounded by Ontario's first responders, the Minister of Labour made a plea for those suffering from PTSD to step forward and seek treatment. Sadly, there are many first responders who will seek negative impact of this case, see the negative impact of the case and the loss of independence it has caused. Many will feel as though they must choose between suffering in silence and suffering the consequences of seeking help. Ministers have insisted we must reduce the stigma associated with PTSD and encourage people to get help, yet the actions of their ministries have added to that stigma. Our first responders deserve better, and your ministries must do better. So, Speaker, to the Acting Premier, what immediate steps will this government take to address the systemic discrimination against PTSD sufferers?
Thank you, Minister of Transportation.
Thanks very much, Speaker. I would say right off the top that I know that every single member of this legislature from all three parties has enormous respect for the work that our first responders here in the province of Ontario do, day in, day out, to make sure that we are provided with the service that's needed at all times. I will speak from the perspective of the Ministry of Transportation. As I said just a moment ago, in response to the first question, there is no blanket approach that the ministry takes with respect to dealing with medical review of driver's licenses. At all times, we need to make sure that we have safe roads and highways. I believe every member in the House can appreciate that. We will continue to work with all of the individuals who have driver's licenses in the province to make sure that if there is a concern raised by a medical professional, that we can help them work through the system. It is a system, specifically with respect to the medical review of licenses, that's constantly updated. I would only point out quickly, Speaker, that we are currently meeting or exceeding at the ministry our 30-day customer service standard, which is processing more than 90% of cases within 10 days.
Thank you. Your question, the member from Algoma, Manitoulin.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning to you. My question is to the Minister of